Okay, hello. In this video I wanted to give you a brief introduction to Vim, the very good, extensible text editor. Very useful to use Vim, and once you've started to get used to it, you'll sort of wonder how you ever did without it. Vim's very strange because you don't use the mouse. You don't even need a mouse for this. You can just use the keyboard, it's totally fine. So if you've got Vim installed on your computer, which if you've got a Mac or if you've got Linux, it will be installed. You'll have to install it manually on Windows. But if we start off, to get into the text editor, just type in Vi, and it will come up with this little page. This is the standard Vim improved page. But that's not too interesting. There's also something very useful you can use called Vim Tutor. You type in Vim Tutor if you've got Vim installed. This will go through some of the basics of Vim. Some of this is what I'm going to cover in this tutorial right now, the sort of basic walkthrough. So I've got some examples of some files that I wanted to talk about. So one of them is a file I've had in another video. So let's look at what you can do with Vim. So start off, to open Vim with a file that you want to edit, you can just type in Vi and then type in the file name. You could also do that for multiple files at once, and so you can open two files at once in Vim. Now you might be thinking, well, where the hell's the other file? Well, Vim has this concept of buffers. So if we were to do bn for buffer next, so that was colon bn, press enter, it will swap over to that other one. If we want to go back, we could do bp for b previous, or you could do bn again because we've got two files open, so it just go to the next one, which is the previous one. So bp will take them back. Let's suppose, for example, for the time being, I actually don't want this one open. I can do bd to delete things. So you can have multiple files open at once in Vim, even though you can only see a single file. The next thing that you might be wondering about Vim is, well, how do I do anything? You can't move stuff, so I have the arrow keys specifically disabled in my Vim, so the arrow keys don't work. You might be trying to type stuff and nothing really happens. And the reason that nothing happens is because Vim has this concept of modes. So when you open Vim, you're going to be opening Vim in something called normal mode. And this is where we can actually run a whole series of commands, but we're not actually typing text like a normal text editor. So for example, when we're moving in Vim, you use the J, K, L and H keys to move along. So your H key moves you left, your L key moves you right, J moves you down, and K moves you up. And this is all in normal mode. If I want to start typing something, I can go into insert mode. There are many ways to do this. The simplest way to go into insert mode is to type I. Now I can type in insert mode. To get out of insert mode, I would press escape. So now we're back in normal mode. Let's say I wanted to delete this word. Now, in a normal text editor, what you'd do is you'd be in insert mode because that's what they're all in. You'd delete it like that, or maybe you'd delete it using command backspace or what have you. But with Vim, we can actually do something slightly different. We can do dd, and that will just delete the line. Suppose I didn't want to delete the line, and instead I just wanted to delete the word, I can do dw for delete word. Suppose I wanted to put it back, I can do u, that's the undo. Suppose I want to duplicate this. I want to have many of these lines that say test. I can do y to yank the whole line. To yank is like copy and paste. And then I can do p to paste, p again to paste, or I could do a number before p. So with Vim, these commands that we have, like p or like y, if I put a number in front of it, it will just repeat that command the number of times I've given it. So for example, 3, press P, it will do it 3 times. Okay, so if I wanted to then delete all of these 6 lines, well, I could do dd 6 times, or I could do 6dd, and it will delete all of those lines. Another thing you might want to do with Vim is, suppose you're on this line here and you want to insert something above it. Well, the way you can do that is you could type in I, press enter, then move back up and start typing. But that's a lot of nonsense. So what you can do instead is you can simply type in capital oh my god, he's typed the wrong things. Capital O, and capital O will move you up to the upper line and start inserting things. So insert a new line, and now I'm in insert mode and I can start typing stuff out. Suppose instead that I wanted to insert in the line below, well, I could just type in O, and now I'm in insert mode on the line below, and I can just type some stuff out again. And let's say I want to delete that line. We can also do many other movements with Vim. So I could, for example, let's say I want to search. Well, you can do / and then just type in what you want to search for. So if I want to search for, let's say, class instead, it'll take me directly to class. If I press N on this one, it'll take me to the next instance. And if there are none left, it'll take me back to the top like it just did. Press N again, it will take me to the same place. Another useful thing that you can do with Vim is you can press F to find the next character that you're looking for. So in this case, I wanted to look for the next character that was the bracket there. And you can do the same thing backwards as well. So if I was to come over here and type in capital F and then do bracket, it will take me back to whichever, it will search backwards for that character that I'm looking for. A common thing that you'd want to do is, let's say I don't want to console log this object, but instead I want to console log something else. Well, because object here is one word, I could just do CIW, change in word. That will swap out the word, put me in insert mode, and then I can type out something else. So I could type in test, and that will swap out test. Now, if I wanted to instead change this to object without undoing it, let's say I haven't just changed it myself. If I were to do change in word here, it's going to select everything that's within those quotes, that particular word. And now I don't want to do that. I want to get everything that's within the brackets. So what I can do is CI and then pass it a bracket, and then I can just pass it, type in what I want, which is object. You may notice that I did a command there, which was :W. What :W does is that writes the file. So if you write the file, it's just the same as saving it. I can then quit out of the editor by doing :Q. And let's say I made some changes. Okay, so I said here, this is a change. I go back to normal mode using escape. If I try and quit out of this, it won't let me. It will say there's no changes since last override. So I could either do :Q, or is it Q exclamation mark? No, it's exclamation mark Q to quit out of it. No, I've done it the wrong way around. There we go. Q exclamation mark to get out of that. But I could also, maybe I just want to quit and save the stuff. So instead of doing, :W, :Q, to do two separate things, I could do, test here. If I do WQ, :WQ, press enter, it will save and quit at the same time. So that's another thing that's quite useful there. Let's suppose I'm in the file and I want to edit another file and I haven't opened it, opening two files at once. One of the ways you can do that in Vim is you can type in :E, space, and then type in the file you want. And now this has access to all your files. So you might know, I know it begins with M. Type in M, tab. It will find the file that you want to open. If we do that, we can open it, and that was just like opening two files at once like I did earlier. So they're now in separate buffers, so we can do BN, and that will just take us through the buffers. Suppose, for example, that instead of doing it like that, I want to have them split side screen. Well, what we can do instead here is, instead of doing E, I could do VSP for vertical split, and then type in the file name. And now we have a vertical split of the files that we want to edit. Now the next problem is, well, how do you get between the files? Well, you can do Control W, and then you simply use the keys, so left and right to move left and right. So L to move right, H to move left. So if you do Control and W, and then press the button, press right to move, wherever you want to move. That's how you can move between them. Suppose instead that we wanted to open them horizontally. Well, you can do a very similar thing. Just do SP and then do the file. And then it's very much the same case. If you want to move between them, you do Control W, and then it's J and K to actually move up and down. There we go. Like that. We'll quit out of Vim. The other thing I wanted to show you very quickly is what you can do to customize Vim. So when I open Vim, I have a few basic things I want to talk about in terms of customization. And the two things that you really should have if you're going to use Vim, at least as a minimum, are syntax highlighting and the line numbers. So Vim has this thing called a vimrc. This will be in your home directory as a .file, so use this squiggly to find that. You can enter it in Vim. And here's the things I'm interested in. These things that I've set here. Now you won't have as much in here as this. I do recommend that you turn off the arrow keys by using these no remaps here, which I'll put a link to in the description. But this syntax on is very useful. If you turn syntax off, it will not highlight the syntax anymore, which is a pain, or if you don't have it at all, then you won't have syntax highlighting. So just type in syntax on and you'll get syntax highlighting. And the other thing you would like to do is have a set number, and that'll give you line numbers. Cursor line is also another quite useful one because that's giving me that big ruler that you can see where my cursor is at all times. But that's about all I wanted to cover in this video. I've sort of covered some of the basics of Vim. If you have any questions, let me know. Oh, there is another thing I wanted to cover as well. Suppose you wanted to swap out to the end of the line. You could do Control C, capital C, and that will just let you swap out everything from the cursor to the end of the line. Do the same thing with capital D, it'll delete everything to the end of the line as well. Or you might want to do capital S, and that will swap the whole line out. You could also do S, whoopsie daisy, where am I going? You could also do S just to swap the current character under the cursor. And you could do R to replace it without leaving insert mode. So S will take you into insert mode. Say you wanted to change set to, I don't know, test. Yeah, so say you wanted to change set to test, you could do that by going into substitute, by pressing S to substitute, which deletes the current character under the cursor, and then it puts you in insert mode so you can replace one character with many characters. But many times you actually don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to fix a typo or something like that. So you say, well, that says set. I actually want to say tet. So you could do R and then type in the character you want to replace it with. And we never left in normal mode at that point. So that's perfectly fine. And that's how you can use replace. So there's replace, substitute. We've done change and we've done yank and paste. So they're some of the things you'll use quite a lot. So hopefully you've enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, let me know in the doobly-doo below. But other than that, arrivederci.